I am Ferdinand Marcos, and I am the President of the Republic of the Philippines. I stand today on behalf of 110 million Filipinos.
Please recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Para makahinga muna tayo ng konti dahil medyo hindi masyadong sinasagot yung mga tanong natin. If it's okay with the committee, if we go through some violations na lang sa prangkisa nila. I will ask questions and mostly sections 10 and 11,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Please proceed. The Honorable Negraves.
To SMNI, I guess, Attorney Mark Tolentino.
Yes, I can answer it.
In 2005, Kingdom of Jesus GIS states that Pastor Kibuloy is the chairman and registered as a non-stock corporation, correct?
I have with me the history of SMNI.
Just asking a yes or no question.
About what, Mr. Chair? Please rephrase the question.
In 2005,
Yes or no lang po,
Kingdom of Jesus, in your the GIS states that Pastor Kibuloy is the chairman and the corporation is registered as a non-stock corporation, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And Mr. Chair, sometime you became a sole corporation, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
When did you become a sole corporation?
Okay. 99. Sorry. We're talking of Suarasug Media Corporation or the executive Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
Kingdom of Jesus Christ, yes.
So,
It first, like I said earlier, 2005, it was Kingdom of Jesus, right? And it was a non-stock. And then,
in 2006, we amend
yes,
the Kingdom of Jesus Christ to the executive pastor of Kingdom of Jesus Christ by amending Article 1 and converting corporation to corporation sole, Mr. Chair.
so 2006, you became a corporation sole.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And during this time, who is the executive pastor of that corporation sole?
Pastor Apollo Kibuloy, Mr. Chair.
As an executive pastor in this corporation sole, by definition of the corporation code, he administers, manages as the trustee, properties of the corporation, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
As the trustee, Pastor Kibuloy had the power to manage the assets of the corporation, meaning he may buy, sell, encumber, lease properties, etc. for the corporation, right?
But still in compliance with...
Yes or no, Mr. Chair?
Attorney, klaro naman po ang it's answer first, yes or no, and if you would like to explain, you can explain.
Yes, Mr. Chair, but can I explain,
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Sure.
Yes, of course, but
Maiksi lang po,
there is a procedure. Not just the pastor will decide. There is a body in respect to the process of changing or with respect to the decision of the chair, Mr. Chair.
So the answer is yes.
Yes, Mr.
The
Chair.
answer is
Proceed.
yes. Siya pa rin ang...
Yes, for an answer.
Kahit the procedure,
Yes,
siya
please.
pa rin, right?
Please.
Okay. So he have the power to sell, manage, buy properties for beneficiaries
With respect to what year, Mr. Chair?
with his power as the trustee, as the
In what year,
executive
Mr.
pastor.
Chair? Because the executive pastor was already transferred to Marlon Acobo, Mr. Chair, in 2020. That's why I'm asking, what year, Mr. Chair?
Before the transfer na lang. Sige.
Before the transfer, yes, Mr. Chair.
So, you're saying Pastor Kibuloy, before that transfer, has control over the interest, over the properties of the corporation, thus controlling interest, right?
He is the trustee, Mr. Chair. So, subject to
So, may
the
controlling
procedure, Mr.
interest
Chair.
po ba, Mr. Chair, dahil siya yung nagmamanage at lahat?
Klaro lang po natin yung sagot. Yes or no?
Yes, Mr. Chair. With respect to the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
Yes, okay. So, you mentioned that there was a transfer of the executive pastor.
Yes, in 2020, Mr. Chair.
2020?
Yes.
Are you sure?
the year 2020.
By amended,
Yes, there's an
Articles
amendment.
there.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
2020 ba yung nakasulat dyan or 2022? Ang amended AOI nyo.
Document.
It says, I also have the document. And
Mix.
the committee has the document.
Kung mix, can you please ascertain the date? 20 or is it really 2020?
I think the committee has the AOI, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
of
okay.
the amended AOI.
Can you please reply? Attorney,
Repeat the question, Mr. Chair.
is it 2020 or 2022?
2022 applied but approved in 2023.
2020.
You have a copy of,
Can you please repeat?
Mr. Chair,
Applied in 2022, approved in 2023.
So hindi 2020.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Go ahead.
so, Mr. Chair, if I can just direct to the committee na lang, if you have the copy. Yes, can you please read na lang, if he can read, Mr. Chair, the amended Articles of Incorporation on when the date it was adopted.
Who are you directing this to? To Comsec?
To,
Attorney.
I have with me here, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
yes. Can you please, Mr. Chair,
Adopted on December 19, 2022.
so 2022. Okay. And attached there is a transfer, a certificate of appointment.
Yes, Mr.
That's
Chair.
that's the basis, Mr. Chair, for the transfer of the new trustee.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So,
December 19, 2022. Signed by Pastor Apollo Kiboloy, appointing Brother Marlon B. Acobo.
so now it's Brother Marlon Opobo who has the same powers previously of Pastor Kipuloy of
Yes,
the
by
controlling
succession.
interest.
Yes, by succession, Mr. Chair.
Let me direct you to Section 10 of your franchise. The grantee shall not sell, lease, transfer, grant the usufruct of, nor assign this franchise or the rights and privileges acquired thereunder to any person, firm, company, corporation, or other commercial or legal entity, nor merge with any other corporation or entity, nor shall transfer the controlling interest of the grantee simultaneously or contemporaneously to any other person, firm, company, corporation, or entity without the prior approval of the Congress of the Philippines. Are you aware of this provision?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Did you get the prior approval of Congress for this shift of controlling interest in 2022? Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, may I be allowed to answer that?
Okay, tag team, the Honorable Rolex.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, Section 10 give us three instances. The first one is not sell, not lease, not transfer, not grant the usufruct of, nor assign this franchise. That's the first instance. Second instance is nor merge. Third instance is
Not transfer controlling interest.
not transfer the
without
controlling
prior.
interest.
Yes.
That's the
And that-
third instance.
Yes.
Okay, and all of this require the prior approval of Congress.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes, my
so
question, Mr.
So
Chair,
that has
is...
been cited. Question,
My,
was it done?
my question is...
Mr.
was
Chair,
the
I told the
prior
question.
approval?
Would you want to answer that, Attorney Rolex?
yes, Mr. Chairman,
Was
It's a
there
yes or
prior
no.
approval?
It's a yes or no question.
we have not
Mr. Chair.
sold the franchise.
I'm sorry?
It's a yes or no question if you
No,
got
there
the
is-
prior
May I ask the lady to
approval.
repeat the question?
No, attorney. The question was there, did you seek prior approval before you did all of this?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
there are three instances here.
That's right.
So,
We have not sold
sige,
the franchise.
Mr. Chair,
No,
para lang-
that's it all.
That's the first instance, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
Wait. Attorney Rolex. Pero yun natin. Meron kong tatlong instances. Each are independent of each other. Question. There was a change in controlling interest, which also requires you to seek the approval of Congress. For
prior
IO.
to the change.
Did you do it? Yes or no?
Mr. Chairman,
can I
No,
Mr. Chair, can I ask
Mr.
you?
Chair, last talk lang po.
Attorney Tolentino, binigay nyo Attorney Supreme, kukunin nyo ulit. Kasi hindi nyo nga masagot kanina eh.
I can answer that, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I give
Yes
way
or
to my
no?
colleague, Mr. Chairman.
By yes or no, Attorney?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
There was no
Mr. Chair.
there is no transfer of controlling interest, Mr. Chair.
Kasi,
Mr. Chair?
confused na ako eh. Hindi ko alam kung sino ang lead counsel sa kanilang dalawa. Para alam natin kung sino talaga
senior,
dapat
Mr. Chair.
sumagot.
He's the senior lawyer.
Okay.
Oh, eh.
He's the junior lawyer.
So I give way to my colleague.
Okay.
Point of
Wait.
information.
Okay, the Honorable Dan Ferdinand.
I think the question right now is whether
There was a prior
there
approval.
was a prior approval.
Yes.
Siguro kung ayaw po nilang sagutin, alam naman po natin sa Kongreso if they gotten a
Okay.
prior approval. We
Oh.
can ask the committee on COMSEC for us to be clarified on this matter. Dahil basically, alam po natin kung nag-secure po sila ng tinatawag nilang specific mode of reporting. Kasi basically, iba tong reporting na dapat nilang gawin.
Salamat, Congressman Dan. Binibigyan po natin chance sila dahil ang question mo na rinaise ni Congress is sa dalawa. Okay, Attorney Tolentino, ipinasa kay Attorney Rolex, yung pinapasa ulit kay Attorney Tolentino.
Okay.
Okay?
The provision under the law, Mr. Chair, Section 10 of the franchise says, nor shall transfer the controlling interest of the grantee. In this case, Mr. Chair, there was no transfer of the controlling interest because the owner is still the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
The Honorable needs to grant it.
Mr. Chair, didn't he explain earlier that it was it was Pastor Tibuloy who had the controlling interest. Then there was a change in 2022.
It was by succession, Mr. Chair, because Pastor Tibuloy technically retires. He is already 73 years old.
And I'm not asking about his retiring, Mr. Chair. It's the transfer of the controlling interest.
Alam po ba kayo hindi? Yun lang sa tatanong ni Kong Migs eh.
Mr. Chair, kung hindi na lang
paano ba
nila
kayo
sasagutin, si Comsec na lang po ito.
The COMSEC will
Hindi. Per our records, Comsec, since hindi mo masagot nung the Attorney Tolentino, hindi mo masagot ng lead Attorney Rolex.
No,
bibigyan
even
ka
so,
ng
Mr.
last
Chairman,
chance.
we have submitted our annual reports to Congress.
Okay.
And it's contained there.
Did you
Chair.
ask for prior approval?
Prior approval,
No, no.
Mr. Chairman, it's information.
Mr. Chair,
Please read the second sentence, Mr. Chairman, after that.
Mr.
Second
Chair,
sentence says,
Mr. Chair,
Attorney,
Congress shall be informed.
so ano pong sagot nyo? Yes, nagpaalam kayo.
We informed Congress.
But did you ask permission?
No, we did not. We informed.
Mr. Chairman, point of
clear.
clarification.
Thank you very much. Okay,
Na-inform pala eh.
inform Congress.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As far as the committee secretariat record is concerned, there was no they did not seek for a prior approval of any transfer of their franchise.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, it's our position that what we're talking here is not controlling interest, unless we have a definition of what controlling interest is. By long line of cases, controlling interest is more than 50%.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Nograles de la
Thank you,
floor.
Mr. Chair.
Silence is requested.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, may I remind this committee that I think we heard that Attorney Mark Tolentino said that Pastor Tibuloy had controlling interest and was transferred in 2022 to Brother Marlon Acobo. And again, if we look at Section 10, on the first sentence, it still needs the prior approval. Yung sinasabi po earlier na may information, second sentence, hindi pa po tayo nasa second sentence, sa first sentence pa lang ako, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Floor, the Honorable Nograles.
Yes. So we've
Silence is
established
requested.
that
Patapusin mo
wala pong prior approval, Mr.
Wala.
Chair.
Sinabi ko.
Okay. So the next sentence naman sa Section 10
can I
is...
make any comment, Mr.
No,
Chair?
you're not allowed. Please
Mr.
make the
Thank you,
Mr. Chair,
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, may I remind Attorney Tolentino, nakita mo ba kami, tahimik kami nakikinig dito? Di po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Makinig ka rin muna bago ka mag-raise ako.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Masugit ito si Congressman
Thank you very
Akop.
much, Honorable Akop. The Honorable Nograles.
So now let's go to the second sentence in which Attorney Suplico was saying that you informed. Did you inform of this change? Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Nagsasalta na po kayo.
I'd like to explain, Mr. Chair, the kingdom of Jesus Christ is not just an ordinary
No.
corporation.
Can you please, alam po ninyo, can you just please explain muna, yes or no, then explain your position.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
What? Yes, what? To what?
That there is no prior approval.
Yes,
but
my
we
next
informed,
question, Mr. Chair, tapos na
What's your
my
question? No,
question
this is a
was,
new question.
the second sentence naman that they should report a change also in controlling interest. It's in the second sentence of Section 10.
Okay, the Honorable, Sir Attorney Tolentino, yeah, nagsasalta na po kayo.
Mr. Chair,
Tatanong, nag-report po kayo.
the
Yes or
good,
no lang po, Mr. Chair.
the good Congresswoman says, Mr. Chair, about controlling interests. That's why it may be allowed to explain to the Honorable Committee, Mr. Chair, what is the controlling interest in relation to corporation sole? Because it is different to say controlling interest with respect to an ordinary corporation compared to a corporation sole, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, can you just reply first, yes or no to the question? First, tapos saka ho niyo kayo magpaliwanag kung anong kaibahan ng dalawang yan. The question raised by the Honorable Nograles, did you report?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
To whom?
Do it annual
May we ask
reporting to
Comsec
the
if there's a report,
Comsec, did they report?
any change in the controlling interest?
Is there any change in the controlling interest?
Mr. Chair, if we could ask Comsec kung meron.
Yes.
So as far as the records of the committee secretariat is concerned, there was no reporting as to the change of ownership.
Okay. And might I just remind again, narinig po naman natin lahat sa committee, di ba? Sinabi naman po ni Attorney Mark na Pastor did have the control over the assets na pinasat. Wala silang prior approval, which is a violation of the first sentence of Section 10, and wala ring report. So it's a violation of the second sentence also of Section 10. Correct, Mr. Chair.
Well, as for the Comsec, yes, you are correct. Okay.
with all due respect, Mr. Chair, can I explain my answer, Mr. Chair?
Can we go with the line of questioning?
Finish my question.
Please explain.
Mr.
Later.
Chair, point of order.
Yes.
Can we please remind the good Attorney Mark? I think the chair has been very lenient, and I think Congressman Akop has called your attention many times. Your light has been on throughout the whole hearing. So please give enough courtesy to the congressman
Yes, Mr. Chair.
to give their statements, and huwag kayong mag-alala. Bibigyan namin kayo ng pagkakataon, but please huwag kayong babatin habang nagsasalita at habang kinikilala yung oras ng isang kinatawan. May panahon din naman kayo at nakita nyo naman. Siguro kung bibilangin natin sa ratio at proportion, mas marami pa kayong oras sa pagsasalita kaysa sa mga congressman. Kaya huwag kayong mag-alala. Pagsasalita din kayo. Pagsalitain nyo na muna yung mga congressman.
Yes. Let me apologize, Mr. Chair.
The Honorable Nograles has the floor. Please do not cut in or you just have to answer the question and we'll leave it at that for the moment. If you would like to explain later, then we will give you the chance before we end this hearing. The Honorable Nograles has the floor. Silence is requested.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I have, if I can show to the committee a pie chart of the structure of
Do you have it, video?
Suara Soup.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So please, there's a video.
Yeah. 2023, please. The next. Yes. So it's So, in this pie chart, you can see in the GIS of Suarezul that Executive Kingdom of Jesus has about 53%, which shows the majority of or control of Suarezul, correct? Mr. Chair.
Address to Attorney Tolentino. Ayan. Nagsasalta na po kayo. Do you confirm this?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
So, dahil kanina, gusto mag-explain kasi ng controlling interest on Corporation Sole. Sige. Now I'm showing you, di ba? Even if you're going to say na yung iba ang Corporation Sole, this controlling interest of Executive KOG is obviously has the controlling interest at nagkaroon ng switching internally. And did you still get the prior approval? And did you report it to Congress, Mr. Chair?
Attorney Tolentino.
Mr. Chair,
Yes or no?
there is no provision in the franchise that requires reporting for the change of leadership in the Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
Mr. Chair, controlling interest po
Alam
tayo,
nyo,
diba?
Attorney, hindi na natin pinag-usapan ng liderato. Tinanong natin pie chart. Do you confirm this? Na nagkaroon ho ng pagbabago?
With respect to the leadership, Mr. Chair, but not the controlling interest.
I think the committee has heard that
Yes.
we were talking about controlling interest and it was established earlier and the good attorney has
Kinonfirm naman yan.
confirmed. Okay.
We can sustain
Let's
that.
not
Good.
change words here, ha? Don't put words into our mouths, please. So, if you look at the chart, there is this Phoebus Holdings that holds 46%.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Hindi ko makita.
Malayo kasi. Ayan, naka-orange po.
Pwede ba?
40. Yan. Okay. So, this Phoebus Holdings, are you aware of who owns Phoebus Holdings, Mr. Chair?
Previous holding,
Attorney Tolentino.
Mr. Chair, is an investor of Suarezul Corporation, Mr. Chair. I have no personal knowledge, Mr. Chair. All I
You
know
have no
is
personal knowledge?
it is an investor of Suarezul Corporation, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Sige. Because he has no knowledge, even if he's the legal counsel. Can we share the next slide, please, that shows the structure of Phoebus from the GIS, which is a public document. So, 2022, 2023, can you see the percentage of the Executive Pastor Kingdom of Jesus' ownership on Phoebus? It says 97.16%.
Mr. Chair.
So let me read to you the Constitution naman po. On Article 16, Section 11 of the 1987 Constitution, which says, Congress shall regulate or prohibit monopolies in commercial mass media when public interest so requires. No combinations in restraint of trade or unfair competition shall be allowed. So let's go back to the pie chart, please, of the Executive of Suarezul on 2022. So, makikita po natin, Mr. Chair, that the Executive Pastor, the Kingdom of Jesus, where in 2022, the Executive Pastor was still the trustee and the one who has the controlling interest, right? Before the amendment, owns 53.46% of Suarezul, correct?
53.46%. Yes, Mr. Chair.
And Phoebus Holdings
46.22%.
and Executive Pastor Kingdom of Jesus owns 97% of Phoebus Holdings, correct? So essentially, with the two entities, under Pastor Tibuloy, he holds 99.68%, basically making it a monopoly, correct?
Cannot answer that, Mr. Chair.
You cannot, Mr. Chair, abogado po ang kausap natin, Mr. Chair.
kanina, marami ko yung share site na yun, hindi nyo na alam.
I know, Mr. Chair,
Ano po
but
sagot nyo?
I cannot see
So
that
it's-
slide, Mr. Chair. It's too far.
Okay, let's just go numbers na lang, Mr. Chair. So you said earlier 53.46% ang executive pastor Kingdom of Jesus in 2022 when Pastor Tibuloy was still the executive pastor, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And Phoebus Holdings owns how much, ilang percent, Mr. Chair?
46.22%.
So yes. And as we showed earlier, Executive Pastor Kingdom of Jesus owns 97% of Phoebus Holdings, correct?
I have no documents with me, Mr. Chair, with respect to Phoebus, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Well, GIS is a public document. That's why I was able to show the pie chart. So the GIS will show that for the information of the good attorney. So
Yes, Mr.
essentially, with the numbers, if you add it, again, I will go essentially, Pastor Tibuloy in 2022 holds 99.68% of the two entities, combining the two entities, correct?
Not, Mr. Chair, because the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ has a separate juridical personality than that of Pastor Apollo Sikibole, Mr. Chair.
Yes, I was saying 2022, which you said earlier, si Pastor Tibuloy ang executive pastor pa nun, right?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And
He's the
so,
leader of the
corporation
executive-
sole siya.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And Phoebus nga, 37% owned by the executive pastor, Kingdom of Jesus. Correct? So, essentially, 99.68% ang ownership na to. And citing the Constitution again, pagdating sa commercial mass media, bawal po ang mga monopolies or combinations of such because it's for unfair competition. Are you aware of this?
Yes, Mr.
position,
Chair.
Mr. Chair?
But as what I said, Mr. Chair, the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ
Yes or no lang naman
has a
po.
separate and personality than that of Pastor Kiboloy, Mr. Chair.
Pwede Tolentino, marami pa ako kasi magtatanong. No? Pwede na po muna yes or no bago kayo magpaliwanag. Kasi hindi nyo natutumbok eh. Pwede bang yes or no muna tayo, tsaka kayo magpaliwanag?
Yes, Mr.
Kasi wala akong mangyayari, mas magpaliwanag kayo, hindi nyo namin nakukuha yung sagot eh.
Okay, Mr.
Yes or no?
So essentially, Mr. Chair, with this constitutional provision and the numbers mentioned earlier, na at bawal din ng monopolies, violative sila not only of, kanina, we established Section 10, but the highest law of the land, which is the Constitution. Correct, Mr. Chair?
Attorney, yes or
Mr.
no?
Chair.
So,
Mr. Chair,
What is your reply?
yes daw.
Yes. Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I just have a request? Due to the enlightening revelations of Congresswoman Mix, pwede ba natin ibalik na yung ilaw?
Yes.
Meron pa po kasi akong papakita.
Okay. Meron pa.
Yes, just a short.
Okay.
Sige,
Proceed.
Sorry. I'm almost done. Don't worry.
mamaya na yung let there be light.
Unless you want to
By
see.
the way, Mr. Chair, Attorney Mix is my co-host before, Pinoy Legal
Yes.
Minds. So,
Okay.
Very
And he
good.
was also not giving me time to talk during that time.
For almost 6 months, Mr. Chair.
So, it's,
And he's doing it the same. And he's doing it again. Okay, so now let's go back to your franchise, diba? You have section 11 now, which states that the grantee shall offer to Filipino citizens at least 30% of its outstanding stock or a higher percentage thereof. It may hereafter be provided by law, etc., etc. So dapat may 30% offer to Filipino citizens, to the public. Correct, Mr.
Yes,
Chair?
Mr. Chair.
And we've already established that Suarez Hope essentially is a monopoly owned na 99.68%. Correct. So malayo to sa 30% na mandato to offer to the public under Section 11, Mr. Chair. Correct.
Yes, Mr. Chair, but I have a letter
Yes or
here.
no lang?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So yes, there is a violation.
There's no violation, Mr. Chair.
Yung tinanong ko yung 30%. Mag-add na po tayo, 99.
That's why,
Diba
Mr.
hanggang
Chair,
100 po tayo, Mr. Chair. Tapos 30%. Hindi, 30%. Okay, 99.68% na ang monopolized na nga ng executive kingdom. Meron sila under Section 11 na mandato na 30% of their stock should be offered to the public. Has this been complied with?
yes, Mr. Chair. We have here, Mr. Chair, a letter dated June 30, 2022 to SEC and to the House of Representatives, Mr. Chair, informing the House, Mr. Chair, about 30% share offered to a cooperative, Mr. Chair.
May we have a copy of that?
Yes, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair.
Yan ba
Okay.
yung in-offer niyo sa
Dated
cooperative?
June 30, 2022, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Can you...
Sige, with math na lang, Mr. Chair. Di ba kanina, establish po natin 99.68 nga. So malamang hindi pasok ang 30%. Pero with that argument, sige, let's go to the pie chart with the cooperative na sinabi po. Which cooperative is this, Mr. Chair?
Kooperatiba? Attorney, anong pangalan ng kooperatiba?
Name... Jesus Christ Workers Members Cooperative, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very
And
much.
show lang yung sa Suarez. So, I think second slide, yes. You will see that 0.16% ang Jesus Christ Cooperative. Not even 1%. And I think 1% is different from 30%. Correct, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, we are waiting for the response of the House, Mr. Chair, of that letter.
So may obligasyon pala. Kayo po yung may obligasyon, Mr. Chair.
Oo.
Kasi po yung may obligasyon mag-report sa atin. Bakit po tayo ang magre-report?
We are informing the House, Mr. Chair, about the cooperative that we transferred certain share to the cooperative, Mr. Chair, the Jesus Christ Workers Members Cooperative, Mr. Chair.
Yes, so that is the only cooperative which...
Of your annual report.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
What reply are you expecting from the committee or from Congress? You mentioned that you are requiring, that's why you have not complied with, because you are requiring for a response. When this was just part of your annual report,
May I be
you
allowed to
attached
speak?
it. One of you attached it. Yes, the Honorable.
No, Mr. Chairman, Attorney Suplico. Attorney Suplico.
I'm sorry. Yes, Attorney Suplico, of course. Who doesn't know you? Elementary nga ako, nababasa na kita.
Mr. Chair, we have a letter and we made a study of other franchises with different provisions. Some of them refer to cooperatives. So we are asking Congress, and in particular the Committee on Legislative Franchises, if this will comply with that particular provision before we go ahead and implement it.
Okay. Mr. Chair. Yes, is this the 2023 report that you sent on the basis of your encouraging public participation?
Mr. Chair, we compared the same provisions which are differently worded in other franchises.
Okay.
So we thought we're going to ask Congress, and in particular this committee, if we can be given a go-ahead.
Mr. Chair, I believe we have a copy of that.
Clear. I'm reading this letter that you submitted. It's entitled Report on the Dispersal of Ownership, which is part of the annual information sheet that you gave. There is no question. You were just stating a position. There was no question, Attorney Suplico. Unless tatlo ko kami nagbabasa nito. There are two
There's no
lawyers.
slide to answer.
And there was no question. You just stated your position of what you were going to do.
Yes.
But, or what you were planning to do. But, like the telecast where you claimed that you were asking a question, but there's nobody answering There's no chance to answer. Ito ganito rin mo yan eh, kasi wala naman ko kayo tinatanong eh. Even so, even wala namang question mark, wala namang kayo maybe respectfully request for your opinion, wala pong ganyan. You just stated the position. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Klaro po tayo ha. Thank you po. Thank you, the Honorable Nagrales. Please proceed.
Okay. So, I think that says 2023 report. So, report nga. Diba? And they, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Chair, since you have a copy and I'm sure they know because they reported it, they were basing, and Attorney Tolentino said that they were basing it from other franchises. That's why naglagay sila ng cooperative. Correct.
Yes, Mr. Chair. That's based on our body of the
Yes.
letter.
Okay. And does the franchise, this RA 11422, have any wording of this establishments of cooperatives and other methods of encouraging public participation? Mr. Chair.
None, Mr. Chair. None, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
None.
So, violation na rin po yun kasi naglagay sila ng cooperatives na hindi naman nasa prangkisa po nila, Mr. Chair. So, earlier, there's a violation of the Constitution that we've established, monopolized. Hindi pa nila na gawa yung 30% public offering, which is a violation of their Section 11. And even if you will say may cooperative dyan, it's only 0.16%, which is far from the 30% mandate under Section 11 in the franchise, which is a violation also, Mr. Chair, correct?
Anything else, Honorable Nagrales?
Yes, I would just like to add also, when if you will state your equality clause with when I read your report, the 2023, you still need the prior approval of Congress. Kung sa site niyo rin yung different franchise na pwedeng kooperatiba. But you also stated there in your 2023 report, you already completed the implementation of program of the dispersal of ownership. Meaning you still did not acquire the prior approval of Congress, correct? Mr. Chair.
Is that a question addressed to
Whoever.
Attorney Tolentino
counsel
or
is.
Lawyer.
Attorney Rolex?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I may. With due respect to the lady, we did not acquire because we feel that what was transferred is not controlling interest.
I'm sorry, we're talking about the report already on your cooperative. We're done with the controlling interest, I believe so.
We're talking of the cooperatives po.
The 2023 report that you sent, with the basis of why you're including cooperatives and on your dispersal on Section 11 to comply with Section 11. May Section 14 din po kasi sa prangkisa nyo that if you're going to say, no, na because your basis was may mga ibang mga prangkisa na pinapayagan ng cooperatives at kung ilalagay mo naman na may equality clause kayo sa Section 14, kailangan nyo pa rin ng prior approval from Congress. Eh naglagay nga kayo ng kooperatiba na hindi nakalagay sa prangkisa nyo, hindi pa rin kayo nag-acquire ng prior approval. Tama po ba, Mr. Chair? Yes or no?
May I be allowed to explain? No, Mr. Chairman. Because we wanted to know, Mr. Chairman, this is the position of my client that we wanted to know whether we can also avail of cooperatives. That provision is not found in our franchise, but it's found in the franchises of other entities.
Yes,
So-
and Mr. Chair, I think we established they did not ask us any question anyway. They just reported.
Correct.
And might I direct you to that? You read the report, you already said. You already completed the implementation of the program of the dispersal of ownership. naglagay kayo ng cooperative to, na wala na nga dun sa prangkisa nyo, nag-implement na kayo, na wala rin approval ng Congress. Correct? Mr. Chair.
Attorney, yes. Obviously, Attorney Rolex, ano po
Mr. Chairman, reading the equality clause on Section 14.
Yun nga po, kaya nga inunahan ko na po kasi alam ko ang lalagay na niya yung Section 14. Kailangan pa rin po ng prior approval.
That is why we wrote a letter to this House.
That
Mr.
was,
Chairman.
Mr. Chair, what? Mr. Chair?
Well, you know, Attorney, yes, you did. You wrote us there was a report. You were stating you were informing us, you were not asking us any question that that needed a reply from the committee. So, if you keep on going back to that, very clear naman po, Attorney, and you acknowledged that earlier, no? Ito'y ini-inform nyo lang kami. At wala naman po kayong katanungan.
Mr. Chair, we acted in good faith, Mr. Chair. We wrote a letter to the House, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
Mr.
Again,
Chair.
alam po ninyo, we hang on the wall. You have to prove that. And I am of the belief that you keep on citing this letter, and this letter has no question, does not require a reply from us, because if there was at least a question, then we will have at least answered you. But wala ko kayo tinanong. So paano kayo, how can you pass it on to the House or to the committee? Wala naman kayo tinatanong.
That letter, Mr. Chair, proves that we have no intention not to comply all the conditions, requirements in our franchise,
Well,
Mr. Chair.
I think,
Okay, Mr. Chair.
he stated the fact. That's why again, if you go with good faith, I remember the former Solicitor General Frank Chavez when he told me, good faith has to be proven. Thank you very much. The Honorable Nograles.
Okay, Mr. Chair, since sinasabi na lang letter, does the good attorney have a copy of the April 30, 2023 letter, so-called letter, Mr. Chair? April 30.
May I know that letter all about, Mr. Chair?
May dalawa actually.
We know what letter is not all.
Kayo yung nagsabi, letter, may host letter.
That's June 2022, Mr. Chair.
May April then. Whatever it is. Okay, April or June, sure. Let's look at your April 30, 2023. Do you have a copy of that?
What I have is June 30, huh?
Yes. It's a June 2022 letter, Mr. Chair. It's there.
So, hold on.
June 30 po itong hawak po namin, ha? Yung binigay niyo
Mr.
dito.
Chair, the annual report pala.
Yes.
Their annual report. Okay, sorry. Do you have a copy of your annual report
Of April.
on April 30, 2023? Which is the basis of what you're saying on the Section 14 and the cooperatives whatsoever, on the dispersal of ownership. Meron po bang kopya, Mr. Chair? Or if I have a copy. I
No.
can read.
Meron mo ba kayong i-represent?
I think that would, Congresswoman has a copy.
Yes, I do have a copy of it.
Okay.
So it says here for hindi ko mapapakita na sa iPad ko po, but hindi siya letter. It says reports on dispersal of ownership.
Yes.
Right.
30.
That's the April or June, whatever that is. So, yung itong report nila, like I'm saying, that dahil bringing up ang Section 14 po, di ba? Kailangan pa rin ng prior approval and wala naman pong nakasulat sa prangkisa nila na pwede silang maglagay ng establishment of cooperatives even if you're using another franchise, another law. As attorneys, I believe you know what's excluded. It's not included in the law, right, Mr. Chair? So since explicit, ano po yun? Ang Latin po nun. Ayun. Gen Z po ako, hindi ko na alam po yung mga terms and measures. Joke lang. Yes, I'm sure you.
What has been excluded are not included.
Yes. So, and again, we've established earlier you don't have that cooperatives being able to be part of your dispersal ownership, 30%, whatever. Section 11, correct?
So they said, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And you brought up, Mr. Chair, Attorney Rolex, yes, brought up the equality clause, right? Defend this, kaya yung ginawa. Correct, Mr. Chair?
Well, we wanted to know whether we can be given a green light to implement the same.
Okay, sige. Kasi we're just gonna keep going around in circles. It says here in the last sentence, currently, a cooperative is already a stockholder of the company, which is an alternative mode of encouraging public ownership as expressly recognized by this Honorable Congress in other franchises. Again, gumawa na kayo ng kooperatiba, gumawa na sila, pinasok nyo na yung sila as a stockholder without prior approval, and ang ginamit nyo ang prangkisa ng ibang may franchise, not yours. Correct?
Mr. Chair,
Second
Yes or no?
I'm looking at the records. Yes, the Honorable Rolex.
Attorney Suplico, Your Honor.
Yes, please. What do you have to say?
The
That's the last paragraph.
good Congresswoman was referring to Section 11. Reading Section 11 of RA 11422, there is no timeline stipulated in the said provision. The mere fact that we have already put in place the mechanism and we are just awaiting a response from this honorable committee, that does not mean that we have violated
Yes.
the law itself.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you very
we're
much.
going around in circles.
Okay, so I think we've discussed that over and over again.
Yes.
And we've already, again, the committee and even the COMSEC maintains that there was no question. You were not unsoliciting anything. You were just stating a fact. And I think what the Honorable Lugar is saying is it has not been complied with.
But we are
with
willing
the provisions.
we are willing to comply, Mr. Chair. Although, since there's no timeline, when are we going to comply? We can comply at any time, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, when we grant a franchise to a grantee, aren't they mandated to comply
Yes.
at all the time? Like
Yes.
all the time. Immediately.
Yes.
Not for us to wait for them or be given time to comply.
Because I
Correct,
think
Mr. Chair?
Tell me if there's no timeline. So you're trying to tell me now that pwede nyo gawin, tapos tanongin nyo lang later on.
Not any time.
Pwede.
Not any time,
May
Mr.
gusto,
Chair.
wala naman timeline.
Not any time, Mr. Chair. We are willing to comply at any time, as soon as possible,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, let me, Mr. Chair, again, with that argument, babalik tayo. You are willing
Question
to
is why did you
comply.
not do it?
We are willing to do it, Mr. Chair. That's
Why
why,
did you not do it?
because we are waiting for the reply, because under Section 14, Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair, bumabalik na
Provide
tayo.
here.
Let me simplify it na lang, Mr.
Okay po.
Chair.
Sige, salamat po, Atty. Tolentino.
Let me just
Kasi,
simplify.
alam mo, paikot-ikotan po tayo. Obviously, na wala naman kayo tinatanong. All of us atin, you're willing to comply, pero pag tinanong sa inyo, bakit hindi ko comply? Papatuloy nyo naman yung letter na wala naman kayo tinatanong. So, paikot-ikot lang po tayo. Yes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
to end lang, para matapos na yung paikot-ikot kasi sumasakit na rin yung ulo ko. I will repeat the last sentence. Even if you tell this committee that you are willing to comply, hindi na nga kayo nagtanong, ang nakasulat sa last sentence, currently, a cooperative is already a stockholder of the company, which is an alternative mode of encouraging public ownership as expressly recognized by this Honorable Congress in other franchises. So gumawa na kayo, ginawa nyo na. So hindi na rin kailangan ng timeline, di ba Mr. Chair? Kasi ginawa na rin nila at hindi naman sila willing to comply dahil ginawa naman po na walang approval ng Congress. At ang basehan nila ay ibang prangkisa. Tama po Mr. Chair. I think I simplified that already.
That's
Tama
very
po.
clear. Thank you very much.
I will
Yes.
end at
And if you have a second round, we're
yes,
going
I
to
will.
open it for
Yes,
second round.
I will.
Just for a
Thank you.
Documentary evidence pagdating po dito sa change in controlling interest. And it has to do with general information sheets of submitted April 29, 2021 and 30 June 2022. And it has to do with a beneficial ownership declaration. And the beneficial owner, as defined by the entity, by SMNI, so sila po mismo ang nag-define ng beneficial owner as follows. Refers to any natural person who ultimately owns or controls or exercises ultimate effective control over the corporation. This definition covers the natural persons who actually owns or controls the corporation as distinguished from the legal owners. Such beneficial ownership may be determined on the basis of the following, and there's an enumeration of those. So in other words, dito po sa page na to ay naka-identify yung mismong tao na kinoconsider nila na may control dito po sa SMNI. At para sa taong 2021, ang naka-indicate po ay si Mr. Apollo Kibuloy. And I can give this to the committee. So even with ownership of only 1.5%, siya po ang nakadeklara na merong control. Ngayon po, taong 2022, ang naka-indicate na beneficial owner ay nagpalit. There are 4 individuals this time. Marlon Rosete, Ledu Vihia Ayang, J. Mendoza, Lorice Nepomuceno. So, siguro po, ito po ay consistent dun po sinasabi ni Attorney Mark na meron pong grupo apart from the executive pastor. So ito na po siguro yung grupo na nire-refer kanina po ni Attorney Tolentino. But pa man, whatever the interpretation is, base po sa dalawang documents, mayroon pong pagbabago sa control. So, on the basis of that po, klaro po na kinakailangan po natin ng prior approval at base na rin po sa kanilang admission ay hindi po naganap ang prior approval at corroborated din naman po ng ating committee secretary na hindi po naganap ang prior approval. At subsequently, hindi rin po naganap ang reportorial requirement after 60 days. And the recording po is 60 days after December 19, 2022. So, doon po sa section 10, meron pong 2 instances of violations. So, yun po yung ating first manifestation. And siguro, maybe a related question would be for SEC. So, saan po ang ating SEC, ang ating, siguro just a quick, na lang po, tama po bang sinasabi natin pagdating sa konsepto ng control. So, kung nagbago po ang pagdeklara po ng beneficial owner, ay masasabi natin na nagbago po ang control.
From the first, may I be recognized, Your Honor?
The Honorable, yes.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
Your Honor.
Pakisagot, lapit lang po niyo yung mikropono sa inyo.
Your Honor, from the perspective of the concept of ultimate beneficial owner, we confirm the correctness of the position of the Honorable Congresswoman.
Okay.
Okay, salamat. And then, Mr. Chair,
Yes, please.
moving on to Section 11. So, again po, dagdag na lang po. So, yung sa Section 11 po, pwede po natin itanong sa SEC. So meron pong Phoebus, I forgot the name, the complete name, Phoebus Holdings. May we know from SEC if this is publicly owned?
SEC, this is
Your Honor, based on our documents, we can confirm that it's not publicly owned, neither it is a publicly listed company po.
Okay, so anyway, just to confirm na that talagang kung anong pagtingin natin, talagang via that mode ay hindi rin makukomply itong pag-disperse ng 30% via change in ownership through Phoebus. Okay, and sige.
it's not publicly owned, it's not publicly listed, that's what you said. Is it a public utility company?
It's not, Your Honor, it's a holding company po.
Thank you very much.
And then my next set of questions would be for SMNI. So, ang sabi niyo po, meron naman po kayong compliance or sa pagtingin po namin, or at least this representation is may attempt to comply dito po sa Section 11 by way of forming this cooperative. Tama po?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Sino po miyembro ng kooperatiba?
Different members of Jesus Christ Workers Members Cooperative, Mr. Chair.
So miyembro din po sila ng simbahan, tama po ba yun?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. At po ang intindi po ninyo dito sa intent ng Section 11. So dispersal, babasahin po natin yung first part. So in accordance with the constitutional provision to encourage public participation in public utilities. Intindi po natin dyan. Siguro talangin natin ang ating lead. Kasi siya po yung nakakatanda po sa atin. Baka naman gamitin natin ang kanyang experience at galing. Ano pong intindi po natin? Bakit natin kinakailangan ng ganitong klaseng provision?
Correct.
Well, Mr. Chair, I was here in 1998 to 2007.
Okay.
And some of my colleagues then are still here.
Okay.
So it's not bad to be a member in the previous Congress. Anyway, the epigram of Section 11 is dispersal of ownership. So I believe that we are in the right direction. Again, I maintain the stance that we were waiting for the committee to reply to our letter. But then again, if that is
Mr. Chair,
the committee
Mr. Chair,
to us,
non-responsive po. Tinatanong lang natin. Kasi para sa akin, Mr. Chair, this is a public utility. Ibig sabihin, may mabigat na public interest. Kaya ang gusto po natin, i-disperse po natin ang ownership. Gusto po natin, taong bayan ay merong pagkakataon na makasapi dito sa pag-manage ng isang public utility imbued with public interest. So, sa aking pagtingin, kapag napakaliit, wala pang 1%, ay owned by mga individuals na kumbaga po ay kasama rin naman po natin, hindi po talaga masyadong naiiba sa atin, palagay ko ay hindi naman po natin so ang tanong is, sa tingin niyo po ba ay na-achieve ba natin? Na-align ba tayo dito sa legislative intent?
Mr. Chair, the offer shall be given to Filipino citizens. That's it, Filipino citizens. It's here. Section 11 states, dispersal of ownership, that is the epigram, and to offer to Filipino citizens. I think we are on our way to complying with this particular provision. But again,
So on our way. So tama po ba na, so you have renewed, tama po ba in 2019? You renewed?
2019, Mr. Chair, we got the franchise from.
So in short, nakapag 25 years na kayo, and this, nag-renew lang po kayo in 2019. O so ang tanong, dun sa first 25 years po ng prangkisa ninyo, ito po bang dispersal of ownership ay nandun din? yung provision na ito ay nandun po ba sa first franchise agreement?
Different franchise. That is a different franchise, Mr. Chair.
Yes, franchise.
But
Would you know? Would you know if this provision was in the previous franchise agreement? You did not do your homework. I will answer for you. The answer is yes. Next question. Do you know if you comply with this provision in the first 25 years? Would you know, sir?
Sir, Attorney Rolex,
Means yes. We can implement this provision.
No, sir. Ang tanong, kapag did you, in the first 25 years, comply?
Attorney, yes or no lang ho
I
yan.
don't know, Mr. Chair. I became a lawyer in SMNI only 3 years ago, around 3 years ago.
We did more than we did. I am telling you, you did not. So, ang sinasabi ko po, naging mabait nga po ang Kongreso sa inyo. Inintindi po namin nga kayo, binigyan po namin kayo ng pagkakataon. Nung nirenew po namin ito, inintindi po namin kayo, pero sinabi namin, ay taasan naman natin ang bar. Ay palagay ko yun ang dahilan kung bakit naging mas stricto at baka yun ang dahilan kung bakit walang kooperatiba dito sa lengguwahe. Hindi niyo ba itinanong sa Kongreso nung kayo po yung nag-renew noong 2019?
Yun lang.
It's a question, sir. Hindi rhetoric question. It's a direct question. Hindi niyo ba itinanong sa Kongreso when you went for renewal? Dahil obviously, it was a problem in the first 25 years.
Mr. Chair, I wasn't there. I wasn't the lawyer at SMNI when the franchise was reviewed.
Yes, but then I believe that due diligence, sir. Kinakailangan alam po ninyo kung ano ang naging history nitong prangkisa natin.
Madam Chair, there are 60 of you, only 2 of us. We have to anticipate each and every question from members of this committee. I'm sorry.
This is a very short document, sir. Ayan, kaya po ninyong basahin in a very short period of time. I'm sorry, sir, it's not a acceptable answer. But I'm just saying, sir, pasensya na po, Mr. Chair, pero sa aking palagay, parang hindi masyadong supisyenteng sagot. Ito pong hinihintay po namin ang sagot ng Kongreso. Dahil, as you said, Mr. Chair, wala pong tanong. Ano tayo sasagot? Wala pong tanong. So, iyon po eh. And it's very clear po, the cooperative only has very few shares, less than 1%. The shares have been fully
19%.
it's fully paid up. Wala naman application for additional shares to be issued. Meron po ba?
Wala.
Wala naman. Yes or no?
No.
So, yun po. So, kasi kung merong pending application, baka pa merong intent. Pero dahil wala, malamang wala. So, hindi masyadong compelling po para maniwala po kami na merong sufficient intent to comply with this gap pagdating po sa Section 11. So I will leave it at that. But I just have one last question, Mr. Chair, if with your kind indulgence. And this is for Dr. Badoy. It's a very short question. I was intrigued earlier when you mentioned that pagdating po dun sa tanong po ni kay Vice Chair Pimentel, nung nabanggit po niya yung kaso po pagdating kay former Vice President Lenny, ang sabi niyo po ay ito po ang opisyal na posisyon ng gobyerno. Yung tungkol sa links ni ni VP Lenny sa CPP-NPA. Tama po?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Maaari po bang malaman kung nagkaroon po ba ng action ang gobyerno patungkol dito? Kasi kung siya po ay, kasi mabigat po, no? If it's an official position, and it's, mabigat po, di ba? Mabigat na paratang po yun. Ano po naging aksyon ng gobyerno? Were there cases filed? Nagkaroon po ba ng impeachment case? Nagkaroon po ba ng culpable violation of the Constitution, betrayal of trust? Ano po ang ginawang aksyon ng national government dito po sa opisyal na findings with respect to the links of the Vice President?
Mr. Ring.
Of the former Vice President.
Mr. Chair, could I clarify first kung ano yung sinabi namin, yung statement namin? Ang towards the election yon, Mr. Chair. So, hindi namin sinabi na miyembro ang former Vice President ng CBP, NPA, NDF dahil sa mga former rebels na nagsiwalat sa amin ito, ang statement namin ay yung po sa kanilang information ay yun lang sinabi ko na merong collusion na the former Vice President having been endorsed by the Makabayan Bloc according to the Security Awareness and the Third Cluster, and that's also made up of the former rebels who were hijacking and were part of the policy making, and in fact na meron ng agreements. So yung pinaka-concern namin noon, when I remember
na isa-submit ninyo na documentary evidence dito po sa committee. So basically, ang sinasabi ninyo is it's based on the endorsement by these groups on the run-up to the elections, parang ganon. So, at ito ang nilalaman ng mga documents na isasubmit niyo dito sa committee, parang ganon.
Mr. Chair, yes. At yung mga miyembro ng cluster ng situational awareness and knowledge cluster, kasama dyan ang NICA, ang AFP, ang PNP, ang NSC. So, it's highly intelligence-driven, Mr. Chair.
Pero, yun pa man, kahit na medyo mabigat ang naging findings ninyo, walang naging aksyon pagdating sa pagsampa ng cases. Kasi yun ang tanong ko earlier.
Yes.
Nagkaroon ba ng pagsampa ng cases? Criminal case on sedition, halimbawa.
Yes.
Wala pong naging ganun.
Wala po, Mr. Chair, but may I please elaborate a little bit kasi very complicated yung structural organization ng CBP, NPA, NDF na kung saan may mga above grounds at saka below ground, no? So, underground, I'm sorry. So, habang hinihintay natin yung proscription, yung pag-declare sa kanila na terrorist organization sila, tuloy-tuloy silang nakakatago sa mga maskara nila, na like Anak Bayan, LFS, Kabataan, Bayan Muna, Gabriela, Alliance of Concerned Teachers. So, hindi po pwedeng mag-file ng cases na ganun-ganun lang sa Vice President. So, sa amin po, ang gusto namin kasi matigil na yung recruitment kasi napakaraming mga bata na namatay. Just recently ulit, meron sa UP Los Baños, etc. So, yun yung priority na yung mga anak natin ay wag nang ma-recruit at mamatay bilang NPA. So, yun yung prioritize, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
So last na lang po.
The Honorable Kimbo.
Last na po. So, itong isasubmit ninyo na documentary evidence dito sa amin, sa tingin ninyo ay hindi makakatayo as evidence sa court. Parang ganun po.
I'm not a lawyer, Mr. Chair, so I really wouldn't know. But these are judicial, some of them are judicial affidavits, Mr. Chair, from former rebels.
We will just await the submissions, Mr.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
And that will be all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Mr.
much,
Chair.
the Honorable Stella Kimbo of the 2nd District of Marikina City. Now we will call on the Honorable Romy Ako of Antipolo City.
Yeah, I would just like to follow up before I go to Attorney Suplico, who must earn his keep today, being the legal counsel of Suarasog. Madam Badoy, in September 23, 2022, you accused Manila RTC Judge Malagar of lawyering for the CPP NPA and tagged the said judge as a friend and true ally of the communist group. Would that be correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's correct.
And because of that, you were cited in contempt by the Supreme Court of the Republic of the Philippines.
That's not correct, Mr. Chair.
Ano po ang tama?
Ang tama po, Mr. Chair, ay yung mga prente ng CPP, NPA, NDF, katulad ng NUPL, ay gumawa ng paraan para umabot sa Supreme Court. Yung isinulat ko na opinion ko na si Judge Malagar who end na hindi daw teroristang organisasyon ang CPP, NPA, NDF. So, nandun pa po siya, Mr. Chair, na it's still being heard, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Madam. Would you agree with me if I say na just because of your passion against the CPP, NPA, sumusobra na po kayo sa action ninyo, red tagging even members of Congress, even the mayor of Baguio City?
Mr.
Please proceed.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, yung red tagging po, hindi po totoo yan. Ang mga korte na natin mismo ang nagsabi na there is no danger to life, liberty, and security when you're identified as a member of the CPP, NPA, NDF. And in fact, what has endangered our children and our indigenous peoples, and when we're not able to identify the CPP behind all those masks, Mr. Chair.
Kailan ka ba nagkaroon ng passion against the CPP, NPA?
Mr. Chair, nung ako po ay naging naging head po ako ng Strategic Communications Cluster ng NTF-ELCAC. Galing po akong UP Diliman at isa po akong medyo radicalized at marami akong pinaniwalaan na mali. At nung nakita ko, bumababa ako on the ground and I met the victims, Mr. Chair.
When was that?
That was 2008, December 2018, Mr. Chair.
2018.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I understand your point of view, pero sasabihin ko sa iyo, ako, since 1970, kalaban ko na nga sila eh. Hanggang ako'y mag-retire, nandiyan pa rin sila. So, do you think yung ginagawa po ninyo na ganito is in accordance with our laws, rules, and regulations?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for that wonderful question again. When I stepped out of office, Mr. Chair, there was an independent study by the DND about which ano yung factor bakit napaka-successful ng NTF-ELCAC, at yung nangyari dito yung finding, independent study siya, ay yung Strategic Communications Cluster, na ibig sabihin napakahalaga ng information sa ating mga kababayan. Kasi po, sir, ang nangyari doon.
With your indulgence, Madam, ang tanong ko lang po is whether you think sa sarili mo ay in accordance with laws, rules, and regulations yung ginagawa po ninyo. Yun lang po ang katanungan ko.
Yes,
Pakisagot lang po yun.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Ang sagot ko po, oo.
Yes.
Yes.
Even when you are no longer connected with NTF-ELCAC.
Yes, Mr. Chair, because this is a whole-of-nation approach.
I ask you to explain the whole-of-nation approach in all its branches, baka hindi mo masagot. Kaya huwag kang mag-mention ng mga terminologies na 2018 mo lang narinig. Samantalang kami, pinyente pa lang kami, naririnig na namin yan.
Kaya nga i-explain.
Okay?
Now, pwedeng mag-comment, Mr. Chair. Pwedeng mag-comment.
No,
Okay.
I don't think he's asking you to
Mr.
reply
Chair.
to that.
But
Yeah.
Unless,
should
should I what?
Should I respond?
Ano po bang ano? Kaya nyo ba paliwanag yung kakasabi nyo lang? Kasi kaya nyo paliwanag yun.
Kasi po, Mr. Chair,
Hindi mo naman pwedeng underestimate. Si
yun nga
Madam
yung-
Badoy may alam din yan.
yun nga yung isa sa driving forces sa akin, Mr. Chair, na napakaraming PNP at saka AFP ang namatay dahil sa CPP at PANDF. So tama po si Congressman Acop. Napakatagal na po nito.
Salamat. The Honorable Ako.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll not belabor the point. I'll go now to Attorney Rolex Sopico.
Of course. Tama si Madam.
Yes, sir.
Attorney Rolex,
I agree
in your
ako.
answers to the queries
Sugpuin ng mga
of the
NPA talaga.
Honorable Nograles, napansin ko, dalawa lang yung depensa na ginagamit mo eh. Number one, yung letter na sinasabi po nyo dated June 30, 2022. Tama?
Sir.
Yes. Was this a separate letter for you to ask, according to you, to ask question from the committee? Or this was part of your annual report?
Well, I think it's a separate letter, Your Honor.
No. May I ask COMSEC if this was a separate letter or part of the report submitted by Suarasog?
The Honorable Attorney Marvin.
Honors, the letter referred to by Attorney Suplico and SMNI is part of the document submitted to the committee as their annual report for 2020.
So, per record, Attorney Suplico, this is not a separate letter for you to ask guidance. It was part of your annual report.
Well,
Would you agree now?
Well, I accept.
Yes.
May error, Your Honor.
Number two, I have read your letter. I have it in my hand. Nowhere did you ask any question from the committee. Nowhere. I cannot see you asking a question to the committee. Now, may I know, can you point out to me any part of your letter which you have mentioned, did you ask any question or any guidance from this committee regarding your franchise?
Actually, Your Honor, there was another letter sent to the SEC. However, it was shown
No,
to
no,
me.
no. We're
No.
on your communications with this committee. That is the purview of my queries this afternoon, Attorney.
Okay, I take responsibility, Your Honor, if ever.
So in
the
other
request
words,
is that
you are admitting that there is no question here.
But, Your Honor,
If you want, you can read it.
well, it was explained to me that there was a request and we should wait for the response.
And
No.
who told you that?
Well, members of our staff.
Niloko ka ng staff mo.
We can give him a copy of the letter, then you can read it yourself. I mean, you're the one who furnishes the copy.
I'm sorry. I take the word the gentleman who is my upperclassman. That's true, Your
There
Honor.
was no question.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Yes.
He's an honorable person and I respect him for that.
Thank you, Tony. So in other words, wala po kayong guidance na hiniling sa committee. That is your first defense. Kanina pa dun sa mga tanong ni the Honorable Mix Nograles. So I'm just debunking your defense, Tony. The second defense is that it is also contained in your letter. Binasa ko that you were telling this the committee in your report that like other franchises, dapat mabigyan din kayo ng privilege na yon. Am I correct?
That is correct, Your Honor, because in the franchises of others, there is that particular stipulation on the resort to cooperatives, which a phrase is not found in the franchise of SMNI.
Are you trying to tell this committee na when this Congress would approve the grant of franchises, pare-parehas ang wording? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
No, Your Honor.
Iba-iba. Different franchise,
Bill
different
drafting.
Di ba? Dito sa sulat mo, sinabi mo, Republic Act number 10637, an act granting Cotabato Light and Power Company. It's a different franchise with Suarasog. So why would you compare a pig to a cow? And in fact, Congress takes cognizance of each and every individual application for the grant of franchise.
Thought that the provision on this...
You thought?
Yes, Your Honor. I think that
You thought?
Mr. Chairman, the provision on the dispersal of ownership applies to all public utilities, which are franchise grantees.
That is your assumption.
They could be worded in a different manner. And bill drafting with respect to franchises have evolved so far.
And the phrase resort to cooperatives appear in some of the franchises granted by this committee.
I agree. But will you accept that every franchise application is different from other applications for franchise?
Accept, Your Honor.
Yes. And therefore, you cannot compare a cow with a pig or a carabao with a bird. Tama?
I beg to differ, Your Honor, because of the policy on the dispersal of ownership.
Look, are you trying to tell me that the provision on the dispersal of ownership in your franchise is exactly the same as Republic Act number 10637, 10753?
No, Your Honor. Ours is a broadcast franchise. The others are TU franchises.
Therefore,
distribution utility franchises.
Therefore, your argument here is not accepted. Why? Because you are claiming na dapat meron din kayong establishment of cooperatives phrase sa inyong franchise, which Congress did not intend to do so. Otherwise, it would have placed that phrase there if that is the intent of Congress. Tama?
Well, Your Honor, I will espouse...
Hindi, tinatanong kita, tama ba?
No, Your Honor, I will espouse a different view, but I respect the gentleman's free.
You have been a part of this Congress.
For 9 years, Your Honor.
Yes. At alam mo naman na kung gumagawa tayo ng batas, the legislative intent is paramount.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And therefore, if it is not placed there by the Congress, it is not the intent of Congress for you to avail of that provision or phrase. Tama?
But we thought, Your Honor, that this committee could elucidate on the requirement of cooperatives.
Tama? Hindi mo sinasagot yung tanong
well,
ko.
on the, maybe, Your Honor, on the statutory construction principle of verba leges, yes, Your Honor, you may be right.
Yes. Kasi, iba-iba ang trato ng Kongreso sa bawat individual application ng franchise. And I think you know that. They were just arguing like the Defense Council that I expected to. Diba?
I have no other choice.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ako. Thank you very much. Before we continue, the Chair would like to recognize the Honorable Benvenido Abante Jr. of the 6th District of Manila. Welcome, sir. Another media practitioner. Hindi lang po congressman yan, media practitioner, pastor pa, kaya lahat. Kayang-kaya niya. Okay? Yan po ang bishop namin dito sa Congress.
Hindi pa rin nagbabago.
Okay, so the chair now recognizes the Honorable Dan Fernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maraming salamat sa mga resource speakers natin who have been here. May lindol man at wala, kasama po namin kayo. Maraming po salamat. At siguro, I just wanted to augment yung mga position that was mentioned a while ago by Congresswoman Migs Nograles saka kay Congresswoman Stella Pimbo and briefly by Congressman Ako. But make no mistake, the reason why we are tackling itong ating pong mga franchise, hindi lang naman po kayo, but we are also reviewing the franchise of Meralco and GCP and different public utilities. Ito po yung aming pong trabaho. So much so that you are also defending yung sa SMNI. Anyway, dun po sa kanina tinanong nila Migs Kimbo, I just wanted to take the position about dun sa beneficial owner. Kasi kanina lang when you were asked, hindi ata na itanong manifestation lamang ni Stella, ni Congresswoman Stella yung about sa beneficial owner. Kasi dun sa GIS nyo, actually, we have a lot of documents pertaining to the requirements of Section 12, sa reportorial requirement, which yung po mga nire-require namin sa lahat ng prangkisa. Dito po sa Section 10, with regards dito po sa GIS nyo na submitted to us, nakalagay po yung beneficial owner ay si Apollo Kibuloy noong 2019 and 2020. And eventually, pagdating po noong 2021, ito pong beneficial owner na transfer po dito sa company, na mga opisyalis ng company na kanina minention po ni Congresswoman Stella. So, basically, tatanong ko rin po kasi hindi na itanong, hindi po tayo nakakuha dito ng tinatawag po nating prior approval sa Kongreso. Wala po tayo nakuha prior approval.
I mean, Mr. Chairman. Okay, Mr. Chairman, no, we did not secure prior approval.
Yes.
For the following reasons. First, this is a corporation sole. And a corporation sole is a reduced entity. And we need to change the head of the corporation sole every time there's a new head.
Correct.
Okay. So, this corporation sole is different from its name entity. It's like saying the stockholder is different from its the corporation as a personality, separate and distinct from the stockholders.
Yeah, but now after po nung 2020, when you submitted the list of the names of under the your corporation, iba-iba na po itong mga pangalan na nakalagay dito. So, hindi pa rin po tayo kumuha ng prior approval at report that was in relation to Section 10.
Your Honor, if you take a look at the GIS, dated 1999, submitted as a documentary requirement for the application 2018. I'm sorry, not 2018.
We're talking about the GIS in 2021.
I'm trying to trace it, Your Honor.
Wait. Okay. Roommate kita. So, I don't want to reveal your ating relationship being a friend as well. But
okay.
I really want to tell you honestly na itong sa 2021, corporation na itong nakalagay po dito as beneficial owner. And thereby, constituting na dapat po nagkaroon kayo ng prior approval sa Kongreso. But unfortunately, hindi po tayo nagkaroon ng tinatawag na reportorial report with regards to Section 10. And that's the reason why tinatanong namin kanina, okay, beneficial owners, single ka, pero pagdating sa 2021 saka 2022, corporation na kayo eh. So, dapat kumuha kayo ng prior approval sa Kongreso. At any rate, mate, ganito na lang po, no? So, since, ito naman po dokumento, hindi po galing sa amin to, galing po sa inyo. So, anyway, na-establish na po naman natin yon that nagkaroon ng pagkukulang pagdating po doon sa reporting and at the same time ay yung pong prior approval. Tatanungin ko lang kayo, mate, pagdating dito sa tinatawag natin ng Section 11 sa dispersal ng ownership. Tinanong na rin to. No? Hindi kayo nag-apply. In other words, hindi kayo nakapag-apply dahil wait, sandali. Hindi kayo nakapag 30% na ina-allow sa inyo na makapag-offer sa ating mga Filipino citizens were not offered by SMNI for the very reason that you are using that you have written the Congress and at the same time you have written also the Security Exchange Commission for the prior approval before complying with Section 11. Am I right? Di ba?
Chairman, may I ask my colleague?
Okay, go ahead.
To answer the question of the distinguished gentleman from
yes,
thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, so, in other words, there's already a violation because you don't have to wait for the approval or reply of Security and Exchange Commission, and at the same time, this committee or this Congress to reply to your letter because it is mandated by the Section 11 of Republic Act 11422 that you shall offer to the Filipino citizen 30% of your ownership. Am I correct? Yes, sir. So, in other words, there is really a violation on your part, even saying that the intention is to finding out if you will be allowed by this committee or by this Congress and by the Secretary and by the Security and Exchange Commission to proceed with the methodology of finding out how to dispose this ownership. But because without an action, a period of 5 years of lapses, so you have violated. And that's constitute the revocation through ipso facto.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, granting there's violation, there was no intent to violate, Mr. Chairman.
But yeah, I understand. But it took you for so many years, no? For almost 5 years, sulat lang kayo ng sulat sa SEC, sulat kayo ng sulat sa amin. at inaantay nyo yung reply namin. Pero Section 11 is very specific. You shall offer to the Filipino citizens 30% of your ownership. So, ibig sabihin, dapat i-open nyo na right away. Hindi nyo na kailangang antayin ang sagot ng Kongresong ito at ng Security and Exchange Commission for the methodology that you will be implementing on the disposal of your ownership.
Because we believe, Mr. Chairman, that under Section 11 of the franchise, it provides here that in case the public offer of shares is not applicable, the grantee shall apply other method of encouraging public participation.
Correct. And there's a lot of methodology to do that.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And there's yung ang cooperative na ginawa po ninyo is one way of doing it. But
That's why it shows, Mr. Chair.
But with the problem on what you did with regards to the cooperative, corporate, tinatawag dito yung piercing corporate bail eh. It is a self-bail. Wherein alam po ng industry ng ating po mga Philippine Stock Exchange, wherein ang intention po dito, yung pong kapag pareho po ang mga address, which dito po pareho ng address, and at the same time, hindi ko tatanong ko mamaya kung ang mga board of directors and incorporators are all the same, there is a tendency to shield from liability. This corporation, the cooperative, is trying to shield from liability the other corporation. At ang tawag po dito sa bail. You are aware of this, di ba, Attorney?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So that's the reason why, aside doon po sa sinasabi po natin that you have not complied with Section 10, and now you have not complied with Section 11, nagkaroon na po kayo ng 2 violations. So, admittedly, dahil nga, dito po kung mapansin niyo, kasi iba ang sinasabi ng intent and purpose ng Section 10 at iba rin ang intent and purpose ng sinasabi ng Section 12. So, with that admission that you have violated 2 sections of this Republic Act 11422, I just wanted to ask kung ano po ba ang pangalan itong Boost Capital Holdings Incorporated? Kasi lumalabas din po na itong company ito na nag-invest po sa inyo, how much was invested by the Pibus Holding Corporation?
Based on the history of SMNI, Mr. Chair, can I explain the history of SMNI? So we will know what is the contribution of Pibus.
Ano ba to explain?
Yes. Okay.
Siguro, Mr. Chairman, maraming po salamat. Siguro I just wanted to find out kung sino po, yung kasi Pibus Capital Holdings Incorporated, kung titignan po natin, holding company siya, so he's holding a lot of companies. So we wanted to find out sino po ang board of directors ng Pibus Capital Holdings Incorporated.
So it's there in the JS, Mr. Chair.
Can you kindly enumerate?
Actually, Mr. Chair, in 2021, the authorized capital stock of Suarasug is only 50 million.
Yes.
Then we applied for future subscription to 500 million.
Correct. Yes.
So the paid up capital for Pibos, the investment is 391. 300 million.
300 million.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Capital.
Then,
Pibos.
Then we applied for future subscription, and it was approved on February 9, 2022.
Attorney, okay na, alam ko na po yan. Ang tinatanong ko lamang po sa inyo, sino po yung pangalan na under ng Pibus Capital Holding Incorporated? Sabihin lang po sa akin, kasi itong inyong pong corporation, meron lang tayong 5 tao. Dito sa Pibus po, sino po ang board of directors? Sino po ang presidente? Sino po ang vice president? Sino ang secretary? Sino ang treasurer? Things like that.
I have with me.
Kasi wala po yun sa GIS niyo, wala rin po yun sa financial statement mo. I'm trying to look at it. Meron kayong footnote doon. Pero pag tingnan mo, sinundan mo yung footnote, hindi mo makikita kung nasaan. So maybe there is being hidden somewhere. So I wanted to find out, sino po ang board of directors ng Pibus?
I have no record as of today, Mr. Chairman, about Pibus.
Sige.
Maybe we will submit that, Mr. Chair, in our next session.
Okay, so maybe ask the Security and Exchange Commission, since this is a public document that being submitted to SEC as well. Do you have a copy of sino to sa Pibus Corporation?
SEC, you have the floor.
afternoon, Mr. Chair. Can I?
Yes, please.
I'm sorry,
Please go closer to the
go ahead. I
microphone.
just wanted to confirm yung members ng
Sino po?
Based on the 2023 GIS, ito, Nelida Lizada, Eleanor Cardona, Helen Panilag, Elizabeth Carion, Luz Biminda Deles, Merlita Deles, Gemma Ramos, Angelina Pistun, and Christine Olaer.
Will it possible for the Security and Exchange Commission to find out the different companies under this holding company?
We will try to do that.
Any Mike, can you kindly enumerate the holding the companies under the holding company?
Mr. Chair, I have no personal knowledge about Phoebus, Mr. Chair. I only know Phoebus, but the details of Phoebus I do not.
Pero dapat alam niyo yun kasi ano to and that's the reason why. And that's the reason why under this section 10 we are trying to submit through a report yung change of ownership and at the same time prior approval. You know why? Because of this. Kasi hindi natin alam kung sino yung pumapalit na owner. And it happened also, I still remember when we were discussing this in the franchise of ABS-CBN, wherein naitago po ng ABS-CBN doon sa PDR nila yung foreign ownership.
Yes, sir.
Using the Philippine Depository Receipt. And that is very crucial on this issue as well. Why? Because you are a broadcasting system.
Yeah.
And we are preventing, in accordance with Section 2 of Article 16, yung pong ownership ng foreign is not allowed. But fortunately now, Congressman Gonzales, our SDS, is trying to amend the law itself. But for now, na wala po tayong umiiral na batas, yan pong iniiwasan, mapaikot po na kung saan nagkakaroon po ng foreign ownership. That's the reason why kailangan po ng prior approval ng Congress. You have to submit to us a report and then 60 days prior to approval, dapat malaman namin kung yung sino-sino yung mga owner. Diba? So, at any rate, sa sinabi mo kanina, Tony Mark, sinasabi mo that there is a capital investment of 600 million. And this 600 million na investment po nila ay sa Phoebus po yung 300.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
At yung additional na 300 ay kanino po yun?
The paid, Mr. Chair, we applied for 500 million.
No, you
First
applied for 600. You applied for 600.
First, Mr. Chair,
500 is the pledge.
First, Mr. Chair, we applied for 500. After that, on June 2022, we applied additional 150 million.
No.
So, total of 650 million.
Correct, tama. So, yung kasi yung 50 million, yun na yung original nyo
Yes, Mr. Chair.
na capitalization
Yes,
diba? But you added another 600 million. And then in accordance with your...
500 first, Mr. Chair.
500. But the totality is 650.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, that is precise. But yung 300 million is under the Phoebus.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
That is 300 million.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And 300 million is under naman sa executive pastor.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Oh, that's correct, di ba? Okay. Sa kaya ang 300 million na to, saan nilagay itong, ang total is 291 plus 191 sa Phoebus. So, saan nilagay ang pondong ito sa capital investment? Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Capital investment. So, kung makikita mo ang GIS ninyo, ito pong financial statement nyo, siguro pakita lang muna natin, kasi medyo ako na nagugulat din lang ako dahil ito pong revenue breakdown po ninyo, kung mapapansin po ninyo sa 2021, siguro pwede ko natin pakita yung yung slide lang, dalawa lang naman yan. Ayan, zoom. Yan, yung isa kanina. Pakisim lang yung nasa kaliwa. Pag tinignan po natin ang breakdown ng ano po ninyo, ng inyo pong expenses, makikita niyo po yung jump ng inyong expenses. From 2019, 402,000, 202,000, 45,000 in 2020, 2021, 810,000. Suddenly, increase of 12 million. doon po sa operation niyo. Ganun din po yun sa, sa fuel, tumaas ng bigla, tapos makita nyo sa business expenses nyo, wala naman kayo previously, tapos nagkaroon. So, punta tayo sa isang slide. Ito naman po, sa isang slide na to, nakita natin na tumaas naman po yung revenue niyo. Dati, ang revenue lamang sa DZAR, 11 million, 6 million, tapos naging 33 million. Then suddenly, spike ng 90.726 million. Alam nyo, there's a, I will ask the Security and Exchange Commission. Sa Security and Exchange Commission, di ba, we have this kind of, what do you call that? Kapag nagkakaroon ng analysis sa sudden increase sa operating expenses, what application do you consider? I mean, what assumption do you have? A sudden increase of the operating expenses.
Your Honor, I have to apologize. This belongs to this matter belongs to our Office of the General Accountant. So we would need to confer with them on.
So wala yung tinatawag na parang at yung tinatawag na forensic mathematic. Diba? Alam niyo ito? Pero ikaw, you have the knowledge about it. You can speak on behalf of the group. What is your analysis? We just wanted to find out ba't nagkaroon ng biglang spike.
Normally, based on experience, Your Honor, if there's no practical reason for the spike, then there's doubt on where the sources of the revenue are coming from.
That's the reason why. Kasi yun na nga, attorney, kasi nga since na alam natin kanina, you have told us that the 300 million for PBOS and 300 million for the executive pastor was put on capital investment. You said that a while ago.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, for the interest of this committee, I have with me the financial statement of SORASU from 2020 to 2022, Mr. Chair.
I have it. Ito yung financial statement audited na nanggaling po sa inyo to, submitted sa Congress. I have it. At tinatanong ko lamang po, bakit there's a sudden jump, spike on the revenue and the expenses. So, ano yung reason niya bakit nagkaroon ng ganitong spike?
Because if you compare, Mr. Chair, the SMNI in 2020 is different from SMNI in 2022 and today, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
So it's just a small...
yan Tony, from 6 million ng 2020, naging 33 million siya ng 2021 at ng 2022, naging 90 million siya. Hindi siya small. And considering that DCAR, saan ba ang DCAR dito sa Manila?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so can you kindly submit to us yung invoice and contract agreements with DCAR? Kasi meron kayong mga invoices, di ba, saka mga contracts, agreements?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So can you kindly submit us? Sa set ba, have they submitted the contracts and invoices? Dapat sa BIR pala yun, di ba? Sa BIR. Sa BIR, can we ask the BIR? BIR? Walang BIR? Anyway, can you kindly submit to us, Pero wala ka recollection about the different agreements that you have contracted with the outside advertisement with DCAR?
We have an external auditor for that, Mr. Chair.
Dito po sa kasi napansin ko rin po, yung salary po ninyo from 9 million, nag-increase po kayo ng 18.2 million yung sa salary.
Yes, Chair.
Within a year. Pero pag titingnan mo po yung mga previous year, 11, 9 million, then suddenly there's spike.
Siyempre, bago lang.
Ang salary nyo napakataas. Ngayon, ang tanong ko po, in relation to your withholding tax sa mga empleyado nyo, lumalabas lang na meron kayong 1.7 million for that year.
Kasi pag,
parang hindi siya bumabalanse Kung salary to, pag-uusapan natin dito, yung 1.7 million is only 1%.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Di ba?
Yes, tama, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so I think we have a lot of explaining to do because I don't want to say a word na masakit, pero medyo mabigat po itong spike na ginawa po ninyo sa inyong expenses and revenues Para pong unbelievable na ganun po magiging revenue na considering na flat lang kayo tapos bigla nag-increase and then yung expenses nyo flat din bigla nag-increase. There is something that is being hidden that we don't know. That's the reason why we wanted to find out the invoices, the agreements, and also yung mga salaries ng empleyado, submit to us for us to validate together with the BIR. So, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if we're going to invite the BIR the next time around, but I hope that we will be asking them as well to submit all the documents para ma-compara po natin yung kasi we're talking about yung capital investment nila na dapat nasa capital investment na at wala doon sa operation. Yes, of course. Kaya that's the reason why I'm very alarmed nung makita ko po itong GIS nila na sinabit po ninyo. So yun lamang po, Mr. Chairman, for the meantime, we'll be asking also the list of the different companies under the holding company, the PIBUS. And at the same time, yung sa cooperative nila, who are the members of the cooperatives. Meron kasi po mga board of directors yan And how many members of the CJK are members of the cooperative. Lahat naman po yan members ng ng CJK ng cooperative.
The workers, Mr. Chair.
Yes, pero members po sila ng church ng
Not all church members are members of the
But
cooperative.
you are not considering the cooperative as part of the 30% disposal of ownership. You are not considering it, right?
Partly, Mr. Chair, we are considering it.
But that's only less than 1%, as what the good gentlewoman said a while ago. Na
Yes, Mr. Chair.
almost 1% na, and we're talking about
19%.
Yeah, correct. Mababa po. So yun lamang po, Mr. Chairman. So with the compliance of all the documents that we are asking, I hope that we can be clarified with all these
If
things.
we submit, Mr. Chair, give us 1 week, Mr. Chair, to comply all the documentary